Hello everyone and welcome back to another math video. Today we're going to be looking at how to use function notations in word problems. And so just a reminder, this is the short version of this lesson, so we're going to go just through the main ideas pretty quickly. If you'd like the long version, the full-length lesson where we go step by step with a bunch of examples, I will link that in the description below. Before attempting this lesson, you should already be familiar with function notation. So if you'd like a refresher on that, I will link that in the description as well. All right, so here's our problem. If you want to pause the video and read it. All right, so now that you've read it, here's our question. It says, what does f parentheses 5 equals 10 tell you? I'm going to rewrite it up here at the top. Okay, and we should already be familiar with this, right? We know f is the name of the function, 5 is the input, 10 is the output, right? We covered that in the previous video. And so what's really important here is that we remember, okay, this is the x, this is the y, and they tell us that x, it says when she sells x posters, right? So x represents the posters. So here we're talking about she sold 5 posters, and the output, she makes f of x dollars, right? So this is how much money she makes. So now let's put words to this. She sells 5 posters, she makes $10. Okay? So sells 5 posters, makes $10. And you'll notice that for this answer, this is reversed. Okay? That one's backwards. All right, let's look at the next problem here. So if you want to pause to read. Okay, now that you've read the problem, it says, what does f parentheses 40 equals f parentheses 41 tell you? So let's rewrite it up here. F parentheses 40 equals f parentheses 41. And remember that the parentheses, the number in the parentheses, is always the x, right? So these are both x. And they tell you in the problem, x is his age in years. Okay, so this is age 40, and this is age 41. Now with that information, we should be able to eliminate the second answer choice. And the reason is because it says Leo gained 1 pound between one yearly checkup and the next. The 40 and 41 does go up by 1, but it has nothing to do with his weight, right? This has to do with his age going up by 1. And so this one is incorrect. And so by elimination, we know the first one is right. Leo had the same weight at one yearly checkup and the next, right? So at age 40, he had a weight, and at age 41, that's why this equal sign is here, okay? He had an equal weight at age 40 and 41. All right, for this one, if you want to pause the video and read it. All right, now that you've paused or now that you've read the problem, it says, what does f parentheses 9 and 12? Okay, so once again, the number in the parentheses is your x, and they tell us that x is the bins of towels to be washed, right? So bins of towels. Bins of towels. And remember, this is an inequality symbol. This says this is greater than. So greater than. And the 12 is the output here. And so that is the, we're talking about washing loads, right? Number of loads required. So this is loads to wash. To wash. So this says that if there are more than 9 bins of towels, then you will have to wash more than 12 loads, right? Takes more than, yeah, because this is backwards, right? It takes more than, this says 9 loads, 12 bins of towels, and those are flipped, right? The 12 represents the loads of laundry, and so this is wrong, and 9 represents the bins of towels. So this is the correct answer. All right, here's our cool clock for today, which means that it's time for you to practice what you just learned. Go ahead and pause the video and try these 3 problems on your own. And when you're ready, you can unpause the video and we'll check your answers. Okay, now that you've had time to work these problems, let's check your solutions. Okay, for this first problem, you should have said that at the moment of launch, Earth and Neptune are 2.7 billion miles apart. That's because, 0 represents the days after launch. So 0 days after launch means that it's about to launch or hasn't launched yet. So at the moment of launch. And then the 2.7, they tell you that it gives the probe's distance from Neptune, and the distance is measured in billions of miles. All right, for this problem, you should have said that between two annual physicals, Mabel grew taller. And the reason for this is because both the numbers in the parentheses here represent her age, right? So her age is going up by 1, not her height going up by 1. And then it says greater than, right? So when she was age 5, her height was greater than when she was age 4. And for this last problem, both numbers in parentheses, the 0 and the 3, represent time. Tells us nothing about the height, actually. And so this first answer is incorrect, right? Because this says, the distance above the ground is 3 feet. That's not what this, the 3 has nothing to do with the distance. It has to do with the time that this ball is in the air. And so this tells me that when David is throwing the ball in the air, right? So he tosses it, and that's one height, and then 3 seconds later, it has the same height, right? That's why there's an equal sign. All right, that is it for today. I hope you all have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.